Hello and welcome back to Bookish, and welcome back to my Saturday Hodgepodge, my weekly wrap-up of reading and BookTube stuff and bookish thoughts, etc. that I do every week. I want to start off this week by talking about, what I've been reading. I am involved in the BookTube Prize. I'm judging nonfiction group D, and I finished two of the titles in that section already. I finished Memorial Drive by Natasha Trethewey, I believe is how you say her last name. And I also finished Recollections of My Non-Existence, a memoir by Rebecca Solnit. I can't talk about those two books, but I did finish those two books. And also as a part of the BookTube Prize, I have begun reading Black Spartacus, The Epic Life of Toussaint Louverture by Sudhir, Hazareesingh. I've begun reading that book as well. I think in the first time I mentioned this book in my video, I said it was 600 pages long. That is a gross overstatement. It's not nearly that long, but I have begun that reading. I've also begun reading Caste, The Origins of Our Discontent by Isabel Wilkerson, who made a big splash in the book world and on BookTube with her nonfiction book about the Great Migration, called The Warmth of the Other Suns, last year and the year before. And this is kind of a follow-up, more specifically about social justice issues in the United States. I'm doing this as a buddy read with Noel, the book rook, who comments on lots of people's channels. I've read about 100 pages of this, and so far I have to tell you that I'm just completely blown away that Noel and I have a reading schedule that we're reading the book by, and it's tempting for me to go on and just to finish the book up. But I do want to stick to that. I want to see what Noel thinks about the first 100 pages, but that's just been great. This, by the way, is also part of my Black History Month reading, as also, by the way, the Natasha Trethewey Memorial Drive memoir counts towards that, and obviously, as does Black Spartacus, counts towards my Black History Month reading for this year. Also on that list of books is Are Prisons Obsolete by Angela Y. Davis, a look at the history of prisons, the ineffectiveness at prisons, how prisons have changed, how we think about prisons, how prison systems have been abused, and I think ultimately, because I'm only about halfway through, ways of abolishing or getting rid of the prison system. I did a video on Thursday about Black History Month and kind of trying to call attention to the contributions African Americans have made to building this country, an oftentimes overlooked contribution. I think that discussing prisons and race relations in the United States may be the topic of my video this coming up Thursday, and it would be because of what I learned in this book, and also in Isabel Wilkinson's book, Caste. I'm also doing a buddy read, and I forgot to mention this last week, also doing a buddy read of the collected stories of Eudora Welty with Sean the Book Maniac. We're just reading one story a week, and we're just going to go until we're done, so it's kind of a really slow and hopefully continues to be a really enjoyable buddy read. And so far we've read 3 of these stories, and as my memory of reading Welty's stories, I didn't read all of them, but I've read some of them, just a delight, and it's just been a pure kind of joy to get to read and live in Eudora Welty's world, and in her language and in her words and in her descriptions so far, and to get to talk to Sean about those things. So that's kind of where I am reading. The thing that has most impressed me on BookTube this week has been the 100 Years of Solitude kind of group read that was been carried out by, I think, 6 booktubers. And so let me just draw your attention to that. Noah, on his channel, Everyone Who Reads Must Converse, hosted kind of a live stream of them discussing the book, which you can go watch, and I just think it's excellent. There was great discussion on screen. I thought there was pretty good discussion in the comments section as well. But each one of those creators has also made their own videos about 100 Years of Solitude, kind of the classic Gabriel Garcia Marquez book, which kind of launched us in the world of magical realism and became kind of one of the hallmarks, I think, of Latin American literature, at least in the later half of the 20th century. So there were 6 creators. That one is Ami from the channel Ami 1649, Danny from Spenelli Speaks, Summer from, Cozy Reading with Quaker Cats, Una from the Codex Cantina, Christy Lewis from Dostoevsky in Space, and then Noah from Everyone Who Reads Must Converse. I'm going to leave a link to the live stream down below, and then to the videos that these creators have done about 100 Years of Solitude down below as well, in part just to kind of draw attention to this great thing that I've seen going on a lot more on BookTube, and that is this kind of collaboration. You know, what almost all of us say when we start our BookTube channel is that we started our BookTube channel as a way of getting to talk to people about books, and certainly we do that in the comment section, in the back and the forth, and some of us are on Voxer and talk to one another that way as well. But this really is that exact thing of, you know, booktubers reading a book together and discussing that book together and doing it live and inviting us all to participate in that. And I just thought that was great. I thought the discussion last night was excellent, so I wanted to draw as much attention to that as I possibly can as an example of what the BookTube community is actually capable of doing, and I think kind of the BookTube community, or our corner of the BookTube community at its best. I've also been thinking a lot about, you know, the change in leadership of the United States of America since January the 20th, and how much difference that's made. And while I don't want to go on too long of a political discussion here, because God knows I do that often enough, I do want to say that I feel hopeful. This is going to sound naive, and I don't want to give you the impression that I feel like all the problems in the United States have been solved. And I don't even want to give you the impression that I feel like that Joe Biden is the person who can solve all the things that I see as problems in the United States. But I do feel restoration of hope. I'm hoping that it will last longer than 2 years, longer than 4 years, but I do feel kind of a restoration of hope. It gives me hope to know that we finally have a federal government that's actually working on the pandemic, that's actually thinking of ways to get vaccines to us sooner. It gives me hope that these vaccines are out there, and that, you know, slowly Americans are receiving the vaccine, because we are going to have to vaccinate our way out of this and probably continue to get booster shots and treat it like a yearly flu shot after this. The vaccines themselves give me hope. I know that Johnson & Johnson is awaiting approval for their vaccine, which I think has an 85% effectiveness rate, and is only one shot, and I don't think it has to be stored at such a cold temperature. So, you know, that gives me hope. There are things the Biden administration has already done that give me hope. Just in its makeup, it gives me hope. We have an African-American woman who's the Vice President of the United States. This is the highest office ever held by a woman in the history of the United States. We have an openly gay man serving in the United States in the President's cabinet, which gives me hope. We have, you know, Biden appointed a trans woman to work, I believe, in the Food and Drug Administration or for the CDC. Just a real kind of automatically increase in inclusiveness within the United States government. We are, the Biden administration has already united a few of the kids who were kidnapped by the Trump administration at the border with their parents, and is looking at reforming immigration and the way we enforce immigration law. We are moving forward with a new fairly massive stimulus plan to put more money into the pockets of people who need it the most. Is it enough, in my opinion? No. Does it need to be more regular? Yes. But is it a sign for hope? Yes. We've rejoined the world in an effort to do something about climate change. Is it enough? No. But is it a step forward? Yes. The Biden administration has working to raise wages so the minimum wage finally rises above where it's been for, I think, something like the last 12 years. These things, give me hope. And I know there's still a lot of negative news, political news in the United States related to Trump and those supporters of Trump who remain in Congress, but I confess to being more hopeful. And I do want to just reemphasize that in no way am I saying that Biden is perfect or that things are going to go perfectly or that I think he's going to do everything that needs to be done. Quite frankly, I don't think he is, because he's not the kind of politician who agrees with me on every single thing. But I do think hope is important, and I feel more hopeful now than I have. I also wanted to talk just about real quickly, and this is a poorly formed idea in my head, and I wish I could remember whose channel I was on, but I was watching someone's channel, and they were talking about portal fantasies. You know, a book where, usually fantasy novels, in which someone opens a door and all of a sudden they're in another world. And it's kind of, you know, the ultimate escapist fiction, you know, where literally characters escape into a different world. And, you know, obviously the Narnia books kind of work that way. I think with the exceptions of maybe The Horse and His Boy and The Last Battle, you have, you know, kids oftentimes traveling through a portal. And as a kid, one of the things I said in the comment, and by the way, if I was commenting on your channel, please let me know and let me apologize to you directly for not remembering. But I was commenting on how as a kid that I oftentimes fantasized about finding that kind of a door, that kind of a passageway into another world, and that the Narnia books probably put that idea in my head. And then it occurred to me what is entirely not an original idea at all, but that is that that for many of us, maybe for most of us, on some level, if we became a reader as a child, that opening a book was our way of escaping into a different world. You know, the cover of a book is shaped like a door, it's got hinges like a door, and it opens it up and allows us to escape into a different world, a world that's not our own, even if it's not a fantasy novel, even if it's realistic, even as adults. You know, we get to escape and to spend time in the minds of other people and in other places, having adventures, you know, learning, whatever it is that books are themselves. In a way, portal fantasies come to life, and that maybe that's one of the things which won me over to reading as a child, and one of the things which I still anticipate. You know, every time I get a new book, and you know, I get books shipped to me, or I buy a new book and I open it, I have that kind of rush of, is this going to be the next great book in my life, and how absorbed in it I'm going to be? Is it going to be, you know, just pure pleasure, or is it going to be a struggle, and is it going to be that one of those books which I think changes me in a real fundamental way? So, again, in a not original thought at all, that books themselves provide us with that portal that, you know, portal fantasies themselves kind of hinge on. I also wanted to mention that I did watch something on Netflix or Amazon Prime about the World Chess champion Magnus Carlsen. The Norwegian, I believe, yes. World chess champion. I was really interested in chess for a really brief period of time in my life. My mom makes fun of me all the time for kind of just getting really into something for just a short period of time and then moving on to the next thing. And, you know, that's absolutely true. You know, I had a fishing channel, which I largely abandoned. Even though I did make a new fishing video, I'll leave a link to my fishing video down below. Beware for those of you who don't want to see fish caught. I do actually catch a fish in this video. But anyway, I was into chess because a friend of mine got really into chess. I learned chess openings, and I remember in college watching the World Chess Championship on PBS. They didn't actually have cameras there. It was between Anatoly Karpov and Garry Kasparov. They didn't actually have cameras. They just had people in a studio, and they moved these big pieces around like on a vertical chessboard, and then they analyzed the moves. I remember watching that in college with this friend of mine, and then he got really into chess, and he began writing for chess publications and reviewing chess books and playing chess really much more seriously. You know, he never became an international grandmaster or a grandmaster or any of those things like that, but he did play chess seriously, and he got a lot better than me really quickly, and my patience, you know, evaporated. But I do still have a real interest in kind of the world of chess, and so if you're interested in chess and things like that, this documentary about Magnus Carlsen, which I will put the title of down below. I think it's just called Magnus Carlsen Chess Champion or something like that. I'll try to find a link and leave a link to it down below. If you're interested in that, I thought it was really good. I thought it was really interesting, and it kind of reminded me of the movie Searching for Bobby Fischer if the kid had grown up to be the world chess champion. Anyway, there you go. There's my Saturday hodgepodge, rambly, random thoughts for this week. Look forward to your comments in the comment section below, and as always, thank you for watching.